coming to see the Tyrell veteran, meet the Tyrell veteran on his birthday. We appreciate you coming. And I want to talk, I consider myself real lucky. And I'm going to discuss three ways I'm real lucky. One is I'm real lucky that all my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and so forth, turned out real well. They're not in prison. Or anything like that. I don't think they even, I don't even chew tobacco or dip snuff.
Only on
you dip
weekends.
snuff?
No, I do not. Yeah.
Do you know what dip snuff is?
No.
You never know.
I guess
I brought this up because of the generational change. See, my grandmother did snuff. Grandmother Scott, good old soul, had a heart of gold. Anyway, she'd go back in the bedroom, get away from everybody, and have a little snuff can. Snuff is powdered tobacco. She'd take a match and dip in that snuff, and get it kind of chit, you know, spinner, put snuff on it and put it in her mouth. Of course, she had to spit. She had a little catch to spit on.
This was Mommy's mother?
I
saw this.
Mommy's mother?
That's right.
I saw this, so I can attest to this.
See, that was my grandmother. That's Laura and Grace's great-great-great-grandmother. Well, they get away in a hurry about that.
But she lived to be what, about 94?
She was over 90, yeah, she's not.
I think 94 is
And then, I'm so lucky the fact that I've been able to live to 9 years old. I've had several major operations and all that. And about 4 or 5 operations, I guess. And then 2 real bad falls in the last 5 or 6 years. And Patty always says, because I'm an old man. The last fall was not an old man fall. I drove up to get a haircut, and I was kind of running late, and there was a little, where the hedges planted here, there's an opening there. Instead of walking around and going upstairs, I stepped up there, you know. And there's an old dead root in that flower bed I didn't see. Hung my toes on that root, and I mean, I hit that sidewalk. I mean, I hit it. I never get the sound. I mean, your face hits the sidewalk. It cut up here, bleeding like a son of a gun, skinned all these arms. It was bad. So a lady came out of the shop there, and she wanted to take me over to the emergency room. I said, well, I'm not sure where it is. I'll drive my car, you drive yours. So I walked in there, and they saw that scar there. Sorry, we can't fix you. You'd have to go to get a plastic surgeon. I said, where do I do that? The hospital. So I went to the hospital, and they didn't have a plastic surgeon, but the guy fixed it up. So anyway, I feel real lucky that I been able to live to age 90 and not have any serious disease or anything like that. And then third real lucky, and I'll discuss briefly, was my military. When I was going to Texas Tech in 1942, and heard about the Navy B-12 training program. So when inquired about it, got signed up on it, went to Dallas, take my exam and all that. And if I hadn't got, oh yeah, they promised us that if you get in the B-12 training program, you can continue going to college as a civilian. It sounded real good. Great. Well, they changed their mind. They changed their mind and they called us all in. And they shipped me up to Pittsburgh, Kansas State Teachers College. And we were all in uniform and receiving training, you know, certain amount of training, going to classes with civilians. And there were 180 of us there at that B-12 unit in Pittsburgh State Teachers College. And then when we graduated, I think it's 2 semesters. We didn't graduate, but we went 2 semesters. And then everybody, they dispersed everybody. Well, I was lucky enough, there was me and one other fellow that was selected to go to, Navy Supply Corps School. And if I hadn't been able to do that, I'd probably been over there in Germany fighting in the Battle of the Bulge or invading some island in the Pacific, you know. Then
Like a grave somewhere.
Well, we wouldn't be
I
here.
was really lucky.
Yeah, you were.
Lucky to some guy. So I went through Harvard, Navy Supply Corps School, and then graduated. And, then the ones there, they were just a whole slew of us. And I was assigned to a Sea battalion instead of a ship. A lot of them were assigned to ships, I'm sure. And even the ones in my B-12 unit, I'm sure were on ships that, when we invaded Okinawa, that was the last Pacific island we invaded. First, next to last was Iwo Jima, and then Okinawa. By the way, we took Iwo Jima because of the B-29s. We had B-29s based on Tinian, Guam, and Saipan. And they took off from there to bomb Japan. It took them 18 hours to make the round trip to Japan and back. And when they came back, well, a lot of them would be shot all to pieces, still flying. Unbelievable. I think it's still flying. But anyway, the reason we took Iwo Jima and Okinawa was the planes that were damaged, to give them a chance to land instead of having to sit down in the ocean, which a lot of them had to do. You know. So, let's see, where was it there? Oh, going overseas, another lesson, going overseas. I had a commission there, got an instant commission, and there were 8 of us officers who were casualties on this merchant ship. Well, they decided that ships going overseas no longer need a naval escort. And just zigzag all the way over there and try to fool the submarine getting their beat on it. So one night, the ship's crew, they were playing poker. At night, all the portholes had to be blacked out with a thick black cloth. So this one guy says, "You need something out of his room?" I said, I'll go up and get it for you. I went up there. He didn't have the black cloth over his porthole, and I just saw a beam of light right out over the ocean. The ship was zigzagging, you know, throwing that beam of light. We were lucky we didn't get a torpedo. Because later, 5 months later, the battleship Indianapolis was one that carried the 2 bombs over. And on its way back, it got torpedoed and sunk in the same waters that we were in, going over. So they're, again, lucky.
Did you put up the curtain?
Pardon?
Did you put up the curtain?
Darn right.
Now, Harry, go ahead and tell your story. I want to ask you something if you know something about my dad.
The whole time I was over there, I had a personal jeep. In other words, I really had to make it. Couldn't have been lucky.
Do you know anything about my dad? My dad was on a ship one time, and the captain decided to fire all the guns at the same time. And the ship had to go back into port to get rebuilt. And that's when my dad spent, it was about 2 years in California and San Francisco.
That was after the war, wasn't it?
It was after the Korean War.
Yeah.
You were never in World War II, were you?
He was.
Yeah, World War II.
Yeah, World War II.
See that up there? When I went overseas, I relieved a dispersing officer of the 110th Naval Construction Battalion. That's in Naval Construction Battalion on CVs. He'd been over there 3 years, and I relieved him, and I became the dispersing officer. And I was a paymaster, you know, and then I was in charge of the ship store and the laundry and the post office and stuff like that.
Taking pictures with women that didn't have their tops on.
Not yet. Not yet. So then after the war was over, after drop, let me tell you about, before they dropped the bomb, might be interested in hearing this. This is on Tinian. We have 2 air bases on Tinian, one on the North End Island. It supposedly was the largest air base in the world. And then there's one in the midsection island. That little island, by the way, was 4 miles by 11, and those 2 big old air bases on it. That was Tinian, and then Saipan was about 3 miles over there. I don't remember how many air bases they had. By the way, that picture, some of y'all see it, old Adrian was stationed on Saipan. And then Guam was about, I don't know where that was, that must be between I was there. But, let's see now, where was I?
You were on Tinian?
Tinian, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Gee, did anything special happen there?
yeah. That's where the Enola Gay took off. Before the Enola Gay took off, there was a bunch of civilians in there, about 20 or 30 civilians. So that kicked off a lot of stuff. What are these civilians doing here anyway? Nobody knew, you know. And then the scuttlebutt got out that we had dropped a bomb, one of those surrounding islands. That bomb was so big that island just disappeared. Well, that didn't happen, really. That was scuttlebutt. But then they took, you know, the B-29s had these gun blisters on them, gun turrets, and one of them, see on the top and 2 sides, and they were on the tail,
Yeah.
and they were one on the bottom.
Yeah, it was on the bottom of the tail, that little glass bowl.
Well, they took all those off about, 10, 15 planes. And that kicked off, well, what's going on here, you know, we didn't know. So then, the old construction officer that was across the aisle from me, he came one day and says, I'd like to show y'all something. He took us down on the end of Tinian. There's a steep cliff. That thing must have been good 400 or 500 feet. Sloped about like this, moved down a ways, and then they dug back in that cliff. And he says, I've never seen anything like this in my life as far as plans. He said, that thing is built, he said, I haven't studied those plans for several days before I even start building. He said, for example, this door, the sliding door, it's fixed for it won't cause a spark when it slides. And that's where they housed the 2 bombs. We had 2 bombs at that time, by the way.
That's the
That makes
plutonium.
us feel safe.
So then they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, Hiroshima, some people call it Hiroshima, and then next one's on Nagasaki. And then I didn't know it until here recently. A short time after they dropped the Nagasaki bomb, they took all the B-29s on Tinian, Guam, and Saipan, took off more or less in one day. 2,000 planes, the bombs were panned in one day. 2,000 B-29s. And that convinced the Japanese to surrender, I guess.
That was at the same day they dropped the bomb, you're saying? or-
They already dropped the bomb.
Okay,
They
shortly
dropped both
after.
bombs,
Yeah,
and they just bombed with conventional bombs.
yeah.
Yeah,
They were going to Tokyo.
yeah.
Wow.
Any questions?
Well, did that, was Al in the service too?
No, he was lucky enough, he was at my station, Russell Farm Airfield the whole time.
Never left the US?
Never left. Well, after the war's over, they were gonna ship him, by the way, they were gonna ship him over to Tinian.